really am waiting for the day where people ask for like crazy advice. Like I want like Reddit anonymous level things in our email. For those of you don't know, we have an email. I'm glad we broke up podcast at gmail.com. And so you guys can email us not only like feedback or whatever, but you can also ask for any sort of advice that you need. We are not licensed professionals, and our advice should not take the place of a doctor or esteemed professional. You're like, that's debatable, but we surely can give our advice because we surely do have opinions. And Mama, you are about to hear our opinions. We have some Q&A questions here. We don't have any advice yet, so for those of you that need help and want to know our opinions on what we think you should do with your life, please feel free to send us an email with the subject matter advice, and we will feature you on our podcast. And it's your choice whether.
Especially if it's relationship
Yes, yeah.
based.
But you can ask us about anything.
Because we're so good at those.
And if you actually don't want us to know like who you are, what your name, just send it along anonymously. Make a fake email or say like, hey, can you make this anonymous? Like, don't put my name in it, because otherwise we're gonna say from blankety blank. Would you like to get right into it?
Or make yourself a little pin name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into it. This is from Moon. They said, "Hey there. I'm glad to see y'all connect as friends, and I hope it's been healing. Before I get into my questions, I have some context. I also dated my best friend at one point, and our breakup progressed my already deteriorating mental health into a deep and aggressive depression. It took me a year until I was comfortable enough to reach out and try to have a friendship, a whole year. Partly because I was scared about our dating/breakup ruined our connection. Very fair. Since then, we've reconnected. He's fully transitioned. We're both medicated, and I'm planning to visit him as friends this year. My questions for you both. Post breakup, what did you need to process before you could be friends? Did the friendship always come easy so it was never a question, or was there some part of you that was scared you didn't have that connection anymore? Wishing the best, Moon.
Hey, Moon.
Hi, Moon. Um, First of all, I'm really glad that you were able to form a friendship with your ex, because that is not for everybody, and you really have to know yourself and the person that you have dated really, really well to be able to tell whether or not that's going to work for you, because often people will try and force it and it does not work out. It ends up getting really messy. So I'm glad that that seems to um, be working out for you, because it says here that they're best friends. So, oh, well, no, it says, I also dated my best friend at one point. I don't know if that means that they're best friends now or they were best friends and then they started dating. Um, but they're planning to visit him as friends this year, so it can't be bad, right? Um,
Yeah.
did you feel like you needed to process anything before we could be friends? I think that, no, you go on. You answer first.
No, go ahead. I want you to say what you think first.
Well, I think the second question kind of answers the first question of, did the friendship always come easy so it was never a question, or was there some part of you that was scared you didn't have the connection anymore? I personally, and I told them
Mm-hmm.
this while I was dating them, because we had sort of these rifts in our relationship. Um and I told them like, once we break up, like, we're done. Like, I in the past before being with Gail had never been able to hold a friendship with an ex because it was not sustainable. It hurt too bad. And I just could not see them in a different way other than my partner. So I was really scared when I was with Gail, because it already did not seem like we were on solid ground pretty early on in the relationship. And I was horrified that I wouldn't be able to be in their life at all because of how I used to get when I fell in love with someone. And I honestly am not sure that if I had another relationship and then we broke up, that I'd be able to be friends with them still. I don't know if our breakup slash friendship is an isolated incident. And it hasn't been easy for me, at least, to navigate, but it's definitely improving and it's doable for me. It's I'm able to do it. In the past I was not able to. So I was really scared. And I think that that affected us even while I was in the relationship, because I was so like I was so desperately clinging to our relationship because I didn't want to break up because I thought that I would lose you as a friend too. Um
Yeah, it was definitely that for me as well. I think towards the end there was a while that we were together when we knew that it probably wasn't going to work out. And a lot of the reason that we were together for so long in the end was because I think both of us were already best friends. We were each other's best friends. And like, I think I talked about this in a different episode, but like, your partner's your friend, but it's different from like a true like best friendship. To me, I feel like having a partner is like they're your partner and like your best friend is your best friend, but like we were together and we were also best friends. Like so we both didn't want to lose each other, and like me knowing that she had already established like if we break up, we're not ever talking again. Like I think that that was a lot like that prolonged the end of the relationship more because I could not imagine like just not having her in my life at all. So it was like, well, I can't bring myself to end it or to change whatever needs to be changed because I can't risk losing her as my friend, like losing my partner and losing my best friend at the same time.
yeah. The friendship did come easy. So that really was never so much the question. It was more so, at least for me, navigating that friendship while also having this weird residue of us being in an intimate relationship for years.
Mhm. And I would say, like you were saying, I don't know if this is an isolated incident or if I was ever in a relationship. Like, I'm in another relationship, and I can tell you that, like, if we broke up, I don't think I would remain friends. Like, I can't see myself being able to do that.
Yeah.
So I do think it's a unique situation where, like, we were simply just meant to be in each other's lives and like we make really good friends. Like we weren't the best partners for each other, but we're the best friends for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And as someone like me, because that is what I place value in that. I haven't been able to find a connection with someone that is as deep as I want it to be, like almost like an unspoken kind of almost metaphysical, like you kind of just get it, like you just get each other on a certain level. I haven't been able to experience that with someone that didn't also feel like I'm best friends with them. So it was really confusing to me when we first broke up, and you're like, I feel like we're more like friends. Because I was like, isn't that the point? Like, I think that our our wants and what we look for in a connection in a relationship was different. And so that's also why it was so confusing to me when we broke up, because to you, like, nothing was really working besides the fact that we were friends. And for me, I was like, we're best friends.
Hmm.
Obviously, this is gonna work. Is your boyfriend here?
He just walked by and he ran away. I
Coward.
sorry. Yeah.
Um,
He's like literally a little
Doesn't he
bitch.
know we're talking about our breakup? Can he mind his business? We should have him as a guest on the pod. Oh,
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
as you should be. Um,
Yes, we should. That would actually be hilarious.
um, I don't know if we should have that be like a bonus episode for Patreon that only patrons can see, or if we should let everybody see it. But Moon, I sincerely hope that we answered your question. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think it takes a very specific situation for it to work out. And yeah, I don't know. The friendship was always there, so yeah.
Okay. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay. Um, this is from I'm sure you might actually remember them from mine and yours' lives, Chloroform Chloe. I think when they first started
Hmm.
showing up in my lives, they were like maybe 16 years old, and I was like, there's a child in my lives. They say, what was the last public live slash meeting you guys did before the breakup? How are you guys feeling about the relationship, and did it affect how you acted on camera? So that's one question. They have a few, but let's answer these one at a time. Um,
Okay.
like in terms of public meeting, I don't know necessarily how to answer that because the last time we met in public was in California. They visited me, and we technically were meeting in public. But I think maybe they mean like on camera, like on live.
I think they mean in person.
Oh, okay.
Oh, oh, maybe. I thought maybe they meant just in person. But the last time that we met up with each other, we would have posted about it on the internet.
It was in December. It was in December, um, of I think 2021. Um, and they visited me during Christmas time and their birthday and New Year's. Um, yeah, that was the last time that we saw each other in person. So it's been a while. It's been a long time. How were you guys feeling about the
Hmm.
relationship, and did it affect how you acted on camera? For the last like year of our relationship, we weren't on camera together really as often at all.
Hmm.
Mainly because I took a big hiatus from being on the internet. I would say the closest thing was uh like them visiting me on my Twitch streams, but we weren't on camera together. Um,
Oh yeah.
for a little bit more context, I mean, we took very brief breaks where we didn't contact each other, but throughout, like, even like kind of the beginning of our breakup, we were still in contact. We didn't fully break no contact with each other.
When you say, just to clarify, when she says that we took brief breaks, she means after we broke up. We
Yeah,
never were on breaks while in a relationship.
no, we did. There was one time where we almost broke up, and you needed some time. It was
It
about
was like
it was about a year into our
not even, not even, t wait,
Yeah, the first time you were like, this is not working. We did it that about once a year, where we'd kind of have a breakdown, and you'd be like, I can't do this
but
anymore.
it would last like 24 hours at most.
Why do I feel like there was like 3 days where we like didn't talk? Because you said
No,
that you
that
said that you
never
needed
happened.
space. Maybe it's because we like didn't talk as much.
Maybe not as much, but we definitely never were like actually like we never actually broke up and we never actually like didn't talk to each other.
After we broke up, we maybe, well, actually, there was, it's not that we weren't talking, but in hindsight, it was pretty obvious that we were going to break up soon because after you left California that last time, we really didn't talk. Like, we barely talked or called for like a week. And I even remember, like, being like, well, we just need space. We just were together for like a month and they have a lot to catch up on, and so do I. So that's why we're not talking. And literally, like, I think the next day we broke up. Um, so there have been times where we just like right before we broke up, we weren't really talking as often as we did. Um,
Yeah, but I guess I'm just comparing it to like like you're comparing it to like how much we normally talked, which was like literally 24/7, but like not
um,
talking meant like texting each other a couple times a day.
yeah, like checking in. Um, so to answer that last question, it didn't really affect how we acted on camera because we weren't really on camera during the time where we thought we were gonna break up. Um,
Yes, true.
who came to who after healing the breakup to rekindle the friendship? It wasn't so much like a rekindling. Um, it was more so both of us trying to figure out how are we going to remain friends with this. Mainly me. I think that you were okay already with being friends because that's what you wanted in the first place. But for me, it took like a lot of time. Um,
Yeah. I mean, again, like even after we broke up, like we never went very long without talking to each other.
yeah.
Like we would message each other. I think maybe again, like probably the longest we went was like a day and a half, maybe 2 days of not talking to each other. But even if it was just like morning, how are you doing? Or like checking in, whatever, we still were we still were communicating with each other. And then like slowly it just started picking back up to talking a little bit more normally. Like it wasn't like a break off and then coming back to each other. It was like we always talked to each other, and then slowly it kind of became a little more normal. And like I know I was trying to give you space because I didn't know like how you were feeling, and like I knew that it was going to feel different for you, and I didn't want to be in a friendship with you if it was going to make things worse.
Mm,
So at that point I had accepted the fact that like it took me that long to accept the fact that like if we're gonna like we have to break up because it's not fair to you, and like I love you too much for to keep you in this relationship with me just so that I don't lose my best friend. So like at that point I had accepted like if I lose you then that's just what has to happen.
yeah.
But obviously that's not the outcome I wanted.
Mm. Um, can we, so in my description, I don't know if you've like looked at our profiles that I've made, but on our YouTube profile description, um, I said something along the lines of like hearing like all of like the behind the scenes and the ins and outs of our breakup that left us in shambles. And I don't know about you, this because this person is asking, can we hear from both sides how the relationship ending quote unquote left us in shambles? That was mainly for comedic effect what I wrote, but I do know that me personally, I was kind of like at my limit um with life. Like the first, I mean, I want to say just the first month, but it was that kind of grief where even like I don't know, like 4, 5, 6 months in, sometimes it would just randomly hit me and it would be like day one all over again. Um, it was really whoa.
The car in front of you.
The car in front of Gail is shining red light on them. It's very moody.
I think they're gonna pull away in a second. Oh my God. Okay.
Red light therapy. Um so I cannot necessarily speak for you. I mainly say both of us for my sake cuz I was in shambles. I was like the lowest of the low. Like it was really bad.
hmm
So I
Well,
don't I don't know how. I know that you had a hard time as well, but it was not for the same reasons, and I don't think it was to the same degree.
what what month did we break up?
February. We broke up on I think February 2nd or along
Okay.
something along those lines, or February 1st. I think it was February 1st.
Okay. I was just thinking, like, I was trying to think in my head the timeline of like when I had my mental breakdown. Um, like how soon after that was, but it was a pretty long time after. Um, uh, sorry.
It's okay.
So yeah, for me, well, first of all, um, I I was definitely going through it, like with other things in general, which was kind of what pushed me to the point of like ending the relationship anyways. Like my family, I was dealing with a lot with my family. Um, and I was living in a school bus, which I still am, and it was winter time and it was really, 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 really cold. And like, I just remember I was so miserable. Like, I would just wake up in the morning and I could literally see my breath. That's how cold it was inside. And I
Oh
was
my god.
just like crying, sobbing, and like could see my breath and was just like shivering. And yeah, I was really in shambles too, but I think you're right when you say that it wasn't to the same degree or for the same reasons, probably.
Yeah. I I don't I feel like you I'm not sure how much I can talk about how I felt during the breakup because I know that when I've talked about it with you in the past, like it's hard to hear. Um so
hmm
if you aren't comfortable with that, I don't have to go into so much like how I was feeling at that
Well, you
time.
can say what you want, but I already knew that that was like gonna be the reality, and that was another reason why, like, even though I knew the relationship wasn't going where we needed it to, that I didn't end it for so long was because I knew that that was how it was gonna be for you. And like I couldn't bring myself to put you through that. Like, because I already knew what I was like, how bad it was going to be
Mm.
for you.
I can't tell if that helps me feel better about it or not. Cuz when I was going through it, I was almost like, do they have any idea like how
I knew
badly?
long before, yeah, I knew long before it happened what it was going to be like because I know how you are.
Yeah.
I mean there was so like I in the relationship like I wanted it to work out so badly because we were such good friends. But there was just so many times, like there were so many moments where I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is not gonna work."
Mm. I was I was Delulu, and I was under the impression that like we could have gotten through anything, and that because we loved each other and we had this connection that it didn't matter like what problems we had because we would have been able to figure them out. But not to be homophobic, love doesn't always win, and love doesn't win. Hashtag love doesn't win. Hashtag love loses. Hashtag love loses. And I like it was really hard for me to swallow that pill because from my past relationships, that's the message that I took in. I was always under the impression that I always loved the person more, and so they loved me less, and so then they would leave. But I was always like, okay, once I find someone that like loves me as much as I love them, that'll be the key. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
And maybe you didn't love me as much as I loved you. Maybe that was part of the problem. But I
No, I don't think that was the problem. I think the love was just not like I don't feel like I could give you what you needed out of a romantic relationship, and I don't think you could give me what I needed out of a romantic relationship.
mm,
Like that was the issue. Everything else was there. Like the
yeah.
communication, the love, the friendship, everything was there, but like
It was weird
physically
because
and romantically,
I feel like though that we had chemistry. That's why it was so confusing because I don't know, maybe we lost that, but at least at the beginning of our relationship we had chemistry. And I think that's why I was so confused cuz I was like, no, but we have that. It's still there. Maybe I was just clinging to something that left.
I think it was the idea of like, I think in a relationship, like we were great short term, but as long-term partners, there was something missing.
For you.
I mean, that was always the conversation that like I was the one who wasn't being fulfilled and I'm not saying that like you're lying when you say you were, but I always felt and still feel that I was not giving you what you needed in a relationship and I wasn't going to be able to give it to you.
I think that I think that for a while and sometimes I do still think that that is a cop out, but I understand what you're saying.
I know that you think that,
But at the same
but
time
it's
I truly do understand. I know what you mean. Like we only have so much that we can give as people, and if it's not you, it's not you. So,
I mean, and there was a lot with the gender stuff that
yeah.
was made things very confusing and very hard. And I mean, by the end of our relationship, we were like all like pretty much all of our conversations were just talking about men
Yeah.
and what men we wanted to be with. And I was just like, I'm not like I mean that's another thing though. You say like in the beginning we were really compatible and then it changed. Well, in the beginning I was essentially a man.
Yeah.
So I'm that's kind of the issue. That's kind of what changed.
I guess so, yeah. But I've had that connection, that chemistry with women as well.
What we couldn't give each other. Dick.
Um so here's the next question.
Anyways, good job.
Not exactly a relationship question, but maybe Kylie could help Gail with it a bit since she was with them. Gail mentioned not remembering much from college due to trauma. I was wondering if they've been able to find a helpful way to heal/fix that, and if they could give more detail of what they experienced in their mind during college. Did they realize they forgot things in daily life/interactions/classes? Or did it all pass by in a blur and then they woke up one day and realized that they didn't remember?
So my memory issues didn't start or come from college. This is like a lifelong thing that probably came from childhood specifically because now what I deal with is my sister coming to me and going, "Hey, do you remember when mom and dad did this?" And I go, "They did what?" Like I forget really bad things that happened to us, and she doesn't. She remembers it all. And so like this the forgetting thing doesn't isn't just from college. It's always. It's was before college, during college, and still to this day an issue that I deal with. Like I remember in high school my friends would be like, "Remember when we did this?" And I'd be like, "No, I don't remember when we like what are you literally talking about?" And I don't know, it's like it's not really like things pass in a blur. Like I'm living in the moment and it's happening in the moment, but then afterwards I realize like that I just don't recall much at all of a lot of times of my life. And no, I haven't found anything to remedy that. Besides my sister coming up to me and saying, "Hey, do you remember when this happened?" And then I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I do." Because I
Mm.
guess I do remember it, but
I wonder, is there a way to get treatment for that to like make your hippocampus go, "Hey, we can remember things. It's okay."
I have no idea.
Well,
Should ask my therapist about that. My neighbor. I'll ask my neighbor.
your neighbor. Um, yeah, but these were from chloroform Chloe. Um,
It's getting very dark. Is this a problem?
no, it's okay. It's moody.
Okay.
Um, they also said I also feel like I've extended my thanks to you both multiple times, but it was a very formative couple of years for me from 17 to 19 and was a major part of why I'm pursuing what I love now. I found a comfort during uncomfortable times in cosplay and Japanese culture and looked up to you guys in the cosplay department. Thank you guys from the depths of my soul, and I'm always rooting for y'all. That is so sweet.
That's really sweet. What
That's
the
so unbelievably
heck?
sweet. Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you
Um,
so much, Chloe.
and as always, they have the same icon as they always did during lives. It was the girl from Kakegurui and a gun. Um, always funny to see. Um, so that's all we have for Q&A. Unless you can think of any questions that you specifically have that you know what you want to ask me.
I don't have any questions.
You don't have any questions about like my opinion on anything or like anything about my what I think about our past relationship and our current one at all?
Um, what do you think about it?
What do I think
Our
about
current
it?
relationship? Yeah, what do you think about our current relationship?
I think that it's a privilege and it's also weird. Um, and uh, it's just different. It's just different now.
You know, you know what I think really healed the relationship and like helped was when I did go through my mental breakdown in December
Mm.
and you helped me so much during that time.
You know what's so crazy? I
But
actually don't remember what I did to help you. For once, I can't remember.
really?
Yeah, like
You
I
don't
for some reason
remember
I'm like
doing
blanking.
yoga with me and like
Oh,
helping
that's right.
me while I
That's
was
right.
like I was not good.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I remember. I remember.
Like r that was before I started therapy and got on medication. I was like
You could
not
not
good.
you couldn't get out of bed.
I couldn't stop crying. Remember?
Yeah.
I would just be like I can't stop crying. I've been crying for 48 hours straight. I cannot stop.
Yeah.
I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't work. Yeah, that was really bad. That was really, really bad. But you helped me so much during that time.
It was also I'm glad I was able to because sometimes like trying to help you it really feels like pulling teeth. Like I
Same with you.
I can tell.
Except I'm bad at it and you're good at it.
That's not necessarily true. I can tell that you want help, but whenever I give you things that would help you, you would be like, "No, I can't do that."
Yeah.
Um
But like once I was ready, but at that point it was different then I feel like because at that point I was so desperate I would do anything. You'd be like, do some nerve tapping and I'd be like, yes, ma'am. Like
yeah.
anything that I could do, like I would do it. Like because I was so desperate. I was so scared of like what was gonna happen. So I would do anything. And you were training for yoga, your
Yeah.
yoga certification. And so you were like, do you want to do this? And so I committed to doing that. And that really, really helped me too. My boyfriend just walked by and sat by a tree over there. He's sitting under a tree right there on the ground
Oh, poor guy.
in the dark under a tree.
That's such a man thing to do. Must be nice.
Yeah.
I'd love to sit in the dark
All
under a
right.
tree. You're like, "Okay, bye."
Want me to tell him to come? You want me to tell him to come get on?
No, we can wait until he's able to stay for a full episode. That would be interesting.
No.
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 Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait.
Okay. Well, good talk. And once again, you
Good
guys,
talk.
if you if there's any burning questions you guys want to know or you guys would like some advice within your own relationships and life, we're not therapists, but we
Please.
are gay and nosy, so we would love to be able to help you.
Nosy. We said nosy at the same exact time.
Well, not the same exact time because there was a lag, but wow.
Well, for me, it was at the same exact time.
That's so funny. Bye guys. We'll see you next time.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.